Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to start the second lecture or second episode of the chapter Legend Behind a Legend or Legend Behind Another Legend, written by Hariharan Balkrishna. So here I am going to start the second lecture. Now the writer was all out ready, and also he packed his luggage and also his bags full ready. Then he took a bus from Bhubaneswar. So that's why just I am going to start here. The writer packed his bag and also boarded a bus from Bhubaneswar to Khairi, Jashipur. କାହିଁକି ନା ଏଠି ରାଇଟର ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି କେଉଁଠିକି ନା ଖଇରି ଜଶୀପୁର ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି କି ନା ହରିହରନ୍ ବାଲକୃଷ୍ଣନ୍, because he had very tremendous interest and enthusiasm on his part just to meet with Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury, the owner of the Khairi, the tigress. Very prolific interest he had in his mind and heart. So that's why then he made I think very a good deal of preparation, so making his trip to Khairi Jashipur. Then he prepared well and also packed his luggage. Then he took a bus from Bhubaneswar to Khairi Jashipur. ଗୋଟେ ବସ୍ରେ ଗଲେ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରୁ ଖଇରି ଜଶୀପୁର. He reached at the bus stop at 4 a.m. Then what is the time that is 4 a.m. That was I think the semi-darkness. ଟିକେ ଝାପସା ଝାପସା ଅନ୍ଧାର ହେଇଥାଏ. ଠିକ୍ ରାତି 4ଟା ବେଳକୁ ସେ ଖଇରି ଜଶୀପୁରରେ ଯାଇ ପହଞ୍ଚିଗଲେ. କିଏ ନା ଦି ରାଇଟର Hariharan Balkrishna. So I think around the semi-darkness, then he reached at just the Khairi Jashipur bus stop. Khairi Jashipur bus stand re जाएंगी. Then he get down from the bus रो ले ले. So it was just the semi darkness, ଟିକେ ଝାପସା ଝାପସା ଅନ୍ଧାର ହେଇଥାଏ, ଯୋଉଟାକି ରାତି 4ଟା ହେଇଥାଏ. So while thinking then what he would do, so there came the forest guard on behalf of Mr. Choudhury. So while thinking, while the Mr. Hariharan was thinking very deeply then what to do, then how can he move from that place, then who will guide him, then how can he reach Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury. So all things also twinkling in his mind. Then at last just one person arrived during the time. So he was the forest guard on behalf of Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury, because Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury had sent so the forest guard just to escort him or guide him to the one of the guest houses there. କାହିଁକି ନା ସେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗେଷ୍ଟ ହାଉସ୍ରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିବା ପାଇଁକି ମିଷ୍ଟର ସରୋଜ ରାଜ ଚୌଧୁରୀ ଦେନ୍ ହି ହ୍ୟାଡ୍ ମେଡ୍ ଅଲ୍ ଦି ଆରେଞ୍ଜମେଣ୍ଟସ୍ ଫର୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ପର୍ପୋଜ୍. ତେଣୁ ସେ ସବୁ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ଏ ଗ୍ରେଟ୍ ଡିଲ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଆରେଞ୍ଜମେଣ୍ଟ ଭେରି ବ୍ୟୁଟିଫୁଲି ଆରେଞ୍ଜ ଫର୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ପର୍ପୋଜ୍. ଦେନ୍ ହି ସେଣ୍ଟ ଫର୍ a forest guard just to escort the writer to reach the guest house. The guest house रे पहुंचा पाएंगे तब से पठेइथिले जने forest guard को, and the forest guard greeted him and escorted him to the guest house. Then forest guard, so then after reaching that place, then he also welcomed writer Mr. Hariharan, and also very thankfully then he also guided him or escorted him to the guest house. Tam guest house को नहीं गया संगरे. He made every arrangement for him because Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury had made it just all round of arrangements. Every nitty-gritty arrangements he had made for the purpose of the writer Hariharan, and also said that Mr. Choudhury would meet him when he was ready. Then Mr. Just said that Mr. Choudhury would meet him when he was ready. So Mr. Choudhury also gave him assurances. Then he will get the leisure time or will be free from his tax or works. Then time bounded works, then you will be relaxed from that, then you will going to meet with the writer Hariharan. So the writer was tired, so he fell also asleep, because writer just took a bus from Bhubaneswar to Khairi Jashipur. I think it was very long trip, long drive. Then he also fell very asleep, very hard asleep, very painful asleep. Then he also took a rest, and very fast also he plunged to sleep and fell asleep also. बहुत शीघ्र सोई पड़े, क्या he got tired of just traveling down long distance from Bhubaneswar to Khairi Jashipur. तापर एते दूर जेहेतु जाइछन्ति से निद होय गला, से सोई पड़ले. So but after few hours he woke up hearing the roar of a tiger outside. So I think also during his just sleeping time, so after some taking the rest, or after some the slumberness comes to him, then he also awakening just with a sudden roaring sound just outside of the door of the guest house. Guest house bahare gote tiger ro gote bahut garjan shunile, tenu he just was made to just awakening just with the jolt just coming from outside. And he was so much also panic at hearing such sound. Then who made such very loud and very sharp sound from outside of the guest house door? Then ki mane gote baghara gote shabda gote shuna gala Titan ku, Hariharan ku. Then what happened? Then just we will see then what happened during that time. Achha, but after few hours just hearing the roar of the tiger outside, he looked horrified. I think here the here the writer Hariharan just was feeling fearful, so much also terrified at hearing such sounds, very loud sound coming from outside. डरी गले ते गोटे भयंकर शब्द सुनी. So a bearer came with the tea and biscuit. Tea और biscuit नहीं गया पहुँचला कि ना परिचारक. Bearer means here the messenger, the agent, the carrier, who also arrived also during the time also by just carrying the biscuits and also tea. Cha biscuit ne pahunchila. He said just smilingly that Khairi was outside making friendly inquiries about the new guest of the house, because so the bearer or the messenger or the agent told that also. So you just won't be panic about this hearing such loud, very sharp sound. I think it is Khairi who is standing just outside of the door of the guest house, and he is going to asking some questions about and also getting some informations from the bearer that who is that new guest in our who is that new guest just who has arrived, who is that new one in our guest house, because in order to keep just aware about the new guest, then friendly inquiry, because anybody just to any newcomer, just any new friend comes, then the Khairi makes chats with them and makes some friendly attitudes, and he must be also aware about that. Then who is that new companion just as first time come to the guest house? ତେଣୁ ଖଇର ସାଧାରଣତଃ ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ଯିଏ ଆସି ଅଭ୍ୟର୍ଥନା ଜଣାଏ, ସ୍ୱାଗତ ଜଣାଏ, କାହିଁକି ଯେ ନ୍ୟୁ ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡ ଆସିଲେ ସେ ତାର ଇନକ୍ୱାରି କରେ, ସ୍ୱାଗତ ଜଣାଏ, ସମ୍ବର୍ଦ୍ଧନା ଜଣାଏ. The writer, after taking tea, just met Mr. Choudhury. Then the tea party was over, the biscuits and tea just after being given by the bearer, then it was also comes to an end. Then also the writer Hariharan also then they are now all out ready to meet with also Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury, because after getting so much relaxed and also out of the sleepiness or slumberness, then he awoken to meet with Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury. But then ready, he was sitting on a large chair. ଗୋଟେ ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ ଚେୟାରରେ ବସିଥାନ୍ତି. ଦେନ୍ କିଏ ବସିଥାନ୍ତି ନା ମିଷ୍ଟର ସରୋଜ ରାଜ ଚୌଧୁରୀ. A sloth bear was behind him and holding on to his waist. I think a sloth bear. Sloth means very lazy, idle bear. Just was then where he was? Now he was just behind also the owner of Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury. ଯେ ତାଙ୍କ ପଛପଟେ ଗୋଟେ bearଟେ ଛିଡ଼ା ହେଇଥିଲା, and just holding on to the waist of Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury. ତାଙ୍କ ଅଣ୍ଟାକୁ ଧରିକି ଛିଡ଼ା ହେଇଥାଏ କିଏ ନା ଗୋଟେ sloth bear. Very, I think in the sense of it is also very much panic. Then the writer got much more panic about that also. Hariharan quite afraid of, because the bear is just a wild animal. Just he makes some very also huge sounds during that time. So very snarling sounds made during it. So writer was too much terrified at such sounds. Then also here Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury then also pacified him and also made him cool, calm and quiet. Then he also means also pacified during that time. He became quiet and calm. যাও সেটি শান্ত হয়ে পড়িগলা এবং ধীরস্থির ভাবে সব কথা শুনিলা এবং ধীরস্থির হয়ে ছিড়া হলা. So during time, just I think it was very peculiar situation during time because when the sloth bear holding onto the waist of Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury, so it was also very much also fearful just on the part of writer Hariharan to see such sides during that time. So also Mr. Saroj Choudhury giving assurance, no, you won't be panic about that because he's my friend and he has lullaby just to hear from me and he also going to sleep. अच्छा then what happened during that time तापरे कहला ना and also he greeted the writer and being instructed by Mr. Choudhury. Then the bear also welcomed Mr. writer Hariharan. तांकु भी writer हरिहरन को स्वागत जनेला because as he was instructed by Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury because तांकु जमीन instruction देवे सही हिसाब से काम because I think the animals have been just turned into the human beings. I think just they had been turned into the ruly and just obedient, so compassionate, considerate. They have been just like the human beings. So then what happened? So many changes and well hospitality also given by such wild beast as just like the human beings as same. Then what happened also next time? And also the writer saw that Mr. Choudhury was a very frail man in his 50s. I think here writer Hariharan just watched that also Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury just would be around 50 years age and very lean and thin man. But पतला लोग को 50 वर्ष पाखापाखि तांको बयस हो गलानी. Slightly bald on the top. Slightly bald means something just some parts of the hair has been just uprooted just from the head top of the head. बेसी चंदा नो slightly bald साधारण सामान्य चंदा भित्तिकै ହେଇଛନ୍ତି. I think because some also the baldness due to also some hairs also loss of in the middle part of the head. चंदा भी ହେଇଯାଇଛନ୍ତି slight. He talked open-heartedly. Then very frankly, very clearly, very precisely, with befriendliness, he just started because you are very amiable person, Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury, because he just understood what is the friendshipness, what is the relationshipness. So all just he understood quite well. So there is no question of the rigidness in him because what the writer Hariharan just captured the points from his one of the journalistic friend about Mr. The owner Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury Mr. जो सुनिथिले के ना writer Hariharan. I think that was quite opposite because he knew that Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury very strict person. He adhered very strict person, never heard unnecessary talkings and also very stupidity of others. अन्यर बोकामी कथाबार्ता फालतू कथाबार्ता से meaningless talking को then he did not at all also put up with that, bear up with that, did not tolerate at all the stupidity and also the meaningless talkings of others. So anyhow, then he found on the spot that yes, he was very lenient fellow, very peace loving fellow he was, very amiable fellow he was, and also the loving of the friends he was. ये अपोजिट पाइले नाई बहुत सुंदर लोक थे, बहुत बढ़िया लोक थे, मिक्सिंग लोक थे. He was just a pleasant chap to talk with the also writer. I think during the course of the discussions, so both the writer Hariharan and Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury, I think they had got also very pleasant discussions. I think very pleasurable discussions he had also. I think that magnificent discussions. I think it was so sweet discussions over some topics about the wild animals and how can they turn into the human beings just like their behavior, attitudes, and going to be alike like the humans. So all the discussions and made them clear also the writer Hariharan that oh, he was a very nice fellow, very good gentleman he was, so sweetness of his heart and very mixing fellow he was. So then what happened during time? and both also enjoyed their conversations. Both enjoyed. Both the writer as well as Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury both enjoyed their also conversations, their colloquy, their conversations, their sharing of thoughts, emotions, their feelings, and also there are also different types of topics they discussed about. I think they are quite deep moved by, just mingled with that every also kind of situation they were in having that. ସବୁ ପୁରା ମଜି ଯାଇଥିଲେ ଆନନ୍ଦ, very rollicking, just they have been also in every thought of passion of thoughts in between them. And his rough impression upon him vanished, because what are the impression of the writer Hariharan towards Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury was, it was very bad enough in just at the beginning or a very outset, then what he heard from his friend. But all the things also, I think it was suppressed from his mind. It was just get passed from his mind, drive out from his mind after then he got involved in the discussion and conversation with just Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury. The discussion कला पर जान लीजिए बहुत सुंदर मिजाज लोग थे, बहुत सुंदर बढ़िया लोग थे. And then just Choudhury appeared to be just the most human beings that he had ever met in the life, because human ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ମାନବିକ ଗୁଣ ଅଛି, because the person he beholds or holds very rollicking personality, very sweet personality, very nice personality he was having, and he was very amiable fellow, and he loved the discussions, he loved to interact with the others when he found such discussions or the conversation between the writer and Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury. So here Mr. Writer Hariharan was so much also grateful, and because his heart was melted just when at last he just what he learned from the discussions at last. Then I will just put one point just in that, then you must be also molded or guided by the thoughts of negative thoughts, because negative thoughts comes to your minds after hearing from the other person what about that person may be many negative person, very strict person, very stringent person he was, never also very no care for about also the stupidity of others, never also tolerated us. But in spite of having such very round loving discussion between these two, at last we got the point that, so here the Mr. Hariharan enjoyed also the loving the discussions over some topics, over some matters also which they were related with. So one point just I will just highlight this in that. So because here Mr. Saroj Raj Choudhury was very compassionate, very considerate, very amiable fellow he was, very free, frank, and also he loved also the friends just to be part of the discussions during the time. So thank you all, bye to all. Then I will also write on to my next lecture number 3. Till then also bye to all and thank you all.